Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be, why did she blow me off? Well, I've got an email here, and this is one of those kinds of emails. It's like a cautionary, don't ever fucking do this kind of email. It's the kind where you read through it and you're just thinking, I mean, the whole situation was foobarred before he even got involved with this particular woman. So he got involved with this girl. He's chatting with her for like a month. Then he finally, they're chatting back and forth on Facebook and stuff. Then they finally get together and they have their first date, supposedly. And she says, oh, by the way, I have a boyfriend. And he says, what? And he's shocked. But, of course, he says, oh, no problem. We can stay in touch. So over the course of like the next 6 months, he continues to get fucking totally jerked around. Eventually, she does get rid of this boyfriend, but things didn't turn out the way he expected. Now she's kind of gotten cold on him. And he's thinking, what the hell? So I have a quote that I wrote in this particular topic, and I'm going to go through his email. And the quote says, men who make the mistake of trying to date women who are in relationships with other men are just asking to be jerked around. Women and men who cheat tend to be narcissistic, selfish, weak, insecure, and lack empathy. They show little concern for the feelings of others, and loyalty means nothing to them. People who have lots of choices with potential lovers will never become involved with or put their personal lives on hold for a cheater or a liar in hopes that things will get better down the road. When someone perceives that they have limited romantic options, they often put up with behavior and people who can't or who are incapable of giving them what they want and deserve. Settling for a life or people who are less than what you really deserve is a surefire recipe for failure, heartbreak, suffering, and disappointment, which you're going to see is what this guy gets to unfortunately experience. I've learned these lessons the hard way, and when I see these kinds of emails from, this guy invested 6 months of his life that he can't get back with this particular woman, and this is just a perfect example. When you come across somebody and you find out this is how they operate, it's best to get the fuck out of there. And but when you're really into that other person and they knock your fucking socks off, it's really hard because you think, I'm going to be different than that other guy that she's dating. I'm better. She would once she sees how awesome I am, she'll never do that shit to me. And that's the kind of shit you tell yourself and you lie to yourself about. You say, I'm going to be different. And then down the road, when she ends up treating you the same way that she was treating the other guy that she was dating when she met you, then you realize, you know what, that really didn't feel well. I think I'm probably not going to do that again. So he says, hi Corey, I've read your book a couple of times and it's fantastic. It helped me become more mature and stable in my approach with women. What led me to your work was this specific girl I've been involved with. It's really specific and complicated. It's like everybody that sends me an email, they think their situation is so unique and so different. But again, if you have read the book 10 to 15 times and you understand the principles, then really, once you understand the principles, then you kind of take the principles and apply them to specific situations like this. But at the end of the day, he made a bad choice in the beginning. Because you can't make good wine from bad grapes. You make a shitty choice, there's not a lot you can do with that. It's like trying to polish a turd. It doesn't work too well. He says it's really specific and complicated. I'm sorry the email may be a bit too long, but the details are pretty important to know. Well, at the end of the day, I look at what people do and what they say. And that I can read between the lines and tell me everything. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know there's been plenty of times I've been reading emails from guys or girls and they're trying to bullshit me on what they're really doing. But when you look at the context of everything that's going on and everything that's being said, then you can tell what's really going on. Because it's really about understanding attraction, human behavior, why people do what they do, why they're motivated to do what they do. And when you understand that, men and women both are pretty predictable. And it's really nice when you've read the book 10 to 15 times and you really start to see those patterns in people. Not only does it help you in your personal life, but it helps you in your friendships, it helps you in your business dealings, it helps you in dealing with your clients, your customers, your business partners, your boss, your employer. And it really gives you the upper hand in your negotiations, because like I've said all the time, is all of life is a negotiation. You're always negotiating. And this guy, in essence, entered into a bad negotiation with a really weak hand, and he put up with a bunch of bullshit. And because he put up with all of that, because he perceived that he had very few options and choices, he put up with a lot of bullshit that if he had 4 or 5 other women that didn't have guys or boyfriends in the background, he wouldn't have any of that shit going on in his life. But because he's got a scarcity mindset, he puts up with all this crap. Remember, no one will ever do or say anything to you that you don't invite them to do. And this guy was just, in essence, begging, thank you, may I have another? So he says, half a year ago, I got in contact with a girl that was everything I desired in a girl's appearance. Well, you got to remember, sex is a small part of a relationship. If you don't like hanging out with a person, if you don't enjoy spending your time with them, if you don't enjoy listening to them talk, if the sound of their voice is like nails on the fucking chalkboard, not a good idea to be in a relationship. Maybe as a fuck buddy and you spend unlimited time around them, but that's not a recipe for success for a relationship. Just because they look good. There's plenty of crazy, beautiful women, but they're just so fucking batshit crazy, it's impossible to be with them. He says she's 20 and I'm 26, and after a month-long, humorous and interesting chat with each other on Facebook, she asked if I wanted to meet up, and I responded that it sounded great. Well, obviously, a whole month of chatting, that's way too long, dude. After you met, you should have been making a date right away. Be direct, be decisive, get right to the fucking point and make a date. A phone, Facebook chat, messaging, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp, all those things are strictly to make dates. Because in this particular case, you're going to see this guy wasted a shitload of time. Whereas if he just gotten together and gone out on one date with this girl and she'd have told him this bullshit, instead of after a month, once he's become totally infatuated and projected his fantasy of what he wanted onto her, now he's just, because he's so infatuated with this girl, he's totally blinded to the reality of the situation. He says, we went for a walk, and everything seemed going like it was going great. And the following week, we met again, and it was even greater. Nothing intimate happened except hugging. A whole month you talk to this girl, and you go out on 2 dates, and there's just hugging. Well, when you do that, it obviously communicates that you lack confidence and you're not sure of yourself. If I talk to a girl for a month on Facebook, you better be damn fucking skippy that if we get together in person, there's going to be kissing involved. And always, in my case, a lot more. When you get good at it, you literally can talk women who you've never met into meeting up with you and seducing them on the first date. Remember, it's really what most guys do is they talk women out of dating and sleeping with them. And even though this chick's a cheater, that's basically what this guy does. But he's thinking relationship, we're going to be together, it's going to be great, I'm going to get this label, I'm going to have a girlfriend. And she's just not a good candidate for that. Then she told me that she had to tell me something and that she had a boyfriend for a year. Oh, she forgot to mention after almost a month and a half, 6 weeks, by the way, I got a boyfriend. He says, so he's gone out on 2 dates and, oh, by the way, I have a boyfriend. He says, I was shocked and said that it wasn't okay to not tell me that before, but she was nice and that we could continue to keep in touch. I think he's putting her on a pedestal a little bit. Well, she was nice about the way she said it, so I guess that's okay that she's basically cheating on her boyfriend with me. She contacted me a week later and told me that she wanted to meet up. At that point, I was so interested in her, I agreed. In other words, I'm totally infatuated and goo goo gaga over this girl, and doesn't matter at this point. I'm in. All we did was catch up late in the evening, but I could tell that she was really into me. She was playing with her hair, laughing at everything I said, even though it wasn't so funny, and asking me questions about the future and so on. We continued catching up, and when I went to Prague a month later, she blew me off and didn't respond at all for 2 weeks. That tells you more than likely you probably called, you texted, and she was ignoring you, so you called and you texted some more, thinking you could force a response. These are the kinds of things that guys who are not successful with women do. And when a woman sees that, you're willing to put up with all this bullshit, and you don't really have any self-respect, the attraction level starts to drop, and she backs away, which is what happened here, which is she blew him off. I confronted her and said that no matter how complicated her situation was, she acted disrespectful and nonchalant. She responded that she was sorry. I'm sure she was really sorry. And she was dealing with something in her personal life. I then responded that communication is important, and I now understood her better, and she could contact me when she figured things out. In June, she contacted me saying that she was dreaming about me and that she wanted me to book a room that night. In other words, you're getting laid tonight as long as you don't talk me out of it. Well, let's see what happened. When I asked why, you just imagine James Bond talking to this beautiful woman. You should get a hotel room tonight. You think James Bond's going to go, why? When I asked why, she said she solved the thing in her personal life, and she now was single. I mean, when you say things like that, you're basically saying, huh? What? That you're totally clueless. You don't come off as being confident, and like this happens to you very often. But had you read my book 10 to 15 times, obviously you would know what it means when a woman tells you to book a fucking hotel room. Because, I mean, obviously he said to her, give me a call when you figure things out. And so he doesn't hear from her. She reaches out. And he's like, get a hotel room. Huh? A hotel room? What? She says she solved the thing in her personal life, and now she was single. I booked the room. We went there, and we made out for hours. She said that she liked me, and I was a big reason why she broke up with her boyfriend, and also that she wanted to wait with getting too intimate too quickly. In other words, she could tell after spending all that time making out in the hotel. A girl's not going to tell you to get a hotel so you can make out. And a girl is telling you to get a hotel room so you can have sex as long as you don't talk her out of it. So what do you think happened? Did he talk her into having sex, or did he talk her out of it? Well, what did she say to him? She wanted to wait with getting too intimate too quickly. Yeah, 6 whole months here. He's put his whole life on hold. We kissed and cuddled all night, and the next day she became more and more into me by texting all day and asking when we could meet up again. I mean, it's a good sign. I mean, she's definitely into you. But obviously you can tell he's just fumbling his way through it. He says, at this point, I was afraid that she saw me as a temporary rebound after you got 6 months of your life invested in this. But her actions when we met up after that, by not getting too intimate, made me think I wasn't. No, it's just obviously you had no sensory acuity. You didn't know what to do. You didn't understand 2 steps forward, 1 step back, like I talk about in the book. Obviously, that's what probably led you to my work anyways. But my job as a coach is to critique this, because there's other people watching this and listening to this that are going to find themselves in a similar situation, and they'll be more prepared. So they won't be writing me an email like this. The following month, she became more and more distant. Get a hotel room? Why? That's pretty goddamn funny. I can't help it. because I was showing up with feminine behavior by texting her too often, responding to her immediately, and the worst thing, telling her how much I liked her and missed her. Really masculine. I also told her that I wanted to get serious with her. He says, I know, huge fucking mistake. Well, at least you recognize that. She responded that I deserved a girl that's fully committed and that she couldn't give that to me right away. In other words, she's saying, slow down, dude. Let's hang out, have fun, and hook up. She didn't say, let's have a relationship. She said, get a hotel room. But you're thinking, okay, like what kind of wedding dress is she going to wear? I mean, we're going to get married. We're going to live. How many kids are we going to have? It's like, you haven't even had sex yet. It's like, live in the moment. Hang out, have fun, hook up. That's why I say it. Hang out, have fun, hook up. Because you can see when a guy focuses on anything other than hanging out, having fun, and hooking up, in this case, locking her down to a commitment, how does it end for him? Not too good. Just bad case of blue balls. He says, I accepted it and we continued to meet up. During this whole time, she asked me for time and space, and I gave it to her, letting her reach out to me more. That's smart. He says, then I became more and more distant, and she got back to me weekly and wanted me to make plans. When we met at her place a month ago, drank wine and had a great and funny conversation. We went to bed, made out for hours, but I tried to make moves, and she told me to stop. Again, tells me you don't know. You're like the horny virgin teenager that you don't know what you're doing. And she can tell that you don't know what you're doing and you're not experienced. And she gets annoyed, and she really doesn't want to teach you how to do this. This is why reading the book, learning the seduction process, how to properly take a woman through that, so you get through this resistance and you don't get the stop, don't do that, don't touch me there. The following week we met up, but she didn't even want to kiss me. Then she went to Greece, and she asked if I wanted to meet up when she got back home. 2 days before she got back, she said she couldn't meet that day because she had to be with her parents that she hadn't seen in a month. Ooh, boy, she's really missing you. But didn't set a new available date to meet. That sounds like you were probably pursuing and contacting her instead of letting her come to you. It's like guys get in these kinds of situations, woman makes a little bit of effort, and he says, great, now I can run with it and pursue. And he pursues too much, and then the girl backs off. Whereas if you just wait to hear from a woman when you're, after you're just way past, the second or third week of dating, like I talk about in the book, and she's reaching out, when she reaches out, you assume she wants to see you and you make a date. And you can see this guy is texting and talking too much, being the friend, basically being the backup in case she finally decides to leave the boyfriend. But when things are going sideways with the boyfriend, she gets together, gives him kissy poo. But when things look like they may work out with the boyfriend, she disappears, blows him off, becomes flaky, and then just goes, oh yeah, sorry about that, when she gets in touch. With no emotion, no big deal, because quite frankly, she didn't care, and at the end of the day, he's willing to put up with it. Therefore, he's enabling her behavior. He's inviting her to continue treating him this way. A week later, I texted her asking how she was, and we sent 2 or 3 texts back and forth. I asked if she had time to meet up that weekend, and she responded that she didn't know, and like the week before, didn't compensate with a new available day. I responded, haha, okay. And she says, text back, what is it? And then he says, you're funny, and she says, you're nuts, in a funny way. And then he says, then I got pissed off with her behavior and said that she was an idiot. So you allowed this whole situation to diminish you, and then you throw a hand grenade in there. Oh, you're a fucking idiot. When she asked why, I told her to shut up, and she responded, as you want. As you wish. 2 weeks later, I texted her and asked how she was. She read it and was quite active online on WhatsApp and Facebook, but didn't respond. This was a week ago. What do you think happened? Well, dude, you pretty much communicated that you were totally clueless. You had nothing else going on in your personal life, and that you were willing to completely piss away 6 months of your life to be in backup position for this girl. And then even when you got together and you spent your own hard-earned money to get a hotel room, all you did was some kissy poo because you didn't understand how to seduce a woman properly. And I would say at this point, Your behavior, your dithering, your hesitating, not getting to point, not making dates, being the gay male girlfriend, putting your personal life on hold for 6 months, being clumsy and awkward when you're in bed together, communicate that you're just an inexperienced beta male, and therefore she's looking for a real man. She's looking for a guy that knows what he's doing, because obviously the ex-boyfriend didn't, and now you've proven to her that you don't know what you're doing. And she's probably, there might be 2 or 3 other guys just like it she's involved with anyways. This kind of girl's only a fuck buddy type of person anyways. And if you have integrity, and if you're a guy who wants a girlfriend, you don't get involved with women like this. When you find out that they're hanging out with you, and they've been talking to you all that time, and yet they're in a relationship, check please, no thanks. Sorry, I'm not into that. I'm looking for a girl that has integrity. He says that she's seeing and texting someone else. Probably. Maybe the ex. Probably. Maybe somebody else. Doesn't really matter. She's obviously not into you at this point, and that's the only thing that really matters. Why did she blow me off that badly, even though I gave her the time and space she asked for? Because you pursued too much. You called too much. You waited around on her. You put up with her jerking you around and blowing you off. You put up with being in platonic friend zone. And then when you were together, and she gave you the chance to do something, you didn't know what the hell you were doing. Everybody's got to learn somehow, and again, that's why you want to read the book 10 to 15 times, so you learn the principles and you learn the fundamentals, because if you knew the fundamentals, you'd know what to do when you're in these kinds of situations. Are my chances with her completely ruined? I'd say it's a pretty good possibility. I hope that you can respond in a YouTube video. Well, guess what? I just have. Because I haven't heard a case like mine, or how to deal with a woman when being treated as a third party. I've done actually quite a few videos on this topic. He says, at the moment writing this, I'm not able to give her the give me a call if you change your mind speech, because I can't say or text shit now. There's no reason to do that. The only reason you tell a girl, give me a call if you change your mind, is when she says, well, I can just be friends, or let's just be friends. And you say, you know what, I'm not interested in that, but give me a call if you change your mind. When a girl has blown you off and has ignored you, you don't call her and go, hey, give me a call if you change your mind. It's like she's already blown you off. So you're never going to call or text this girl again for any reason. She must do 100% of the calling, texting, and pursuing from now on. You should definitely review the article that I did, 7 Principles to Get an Ex Back, and get familiar with that. If she does reach out to you in the future, assume she wants to see you and make a date at your place. She must come to you, and if she says, well, let's meet out, why don't you come pick me up, just say, nah, it's been a long week, and I'm just in the mood to hang at my place. If you don't want to come over, then give me a call in a few weeks, and maybe I'll be up for something more formal then. She has to come to you at least for 3 dates in a row. Hang out, have fun, and hook up, just like I talk about in 7 Principles to Get an Ex Back. You can Google Corey Wayne 7 Principles to Get an Ex Back. It's also listed on the Essential Fundamentals category of videos on the homepage of my YouTube channel. It's also one of the Essential Fundamentals on my website. So you need to know those 7 principles to get an ex back, because if you do hear from her, you can get prepared. But in the meantime, you need to be reading the book and getting out there and applying it. And hang out and have fun and hook up. You really need to learn the seduction process and the steps that I talk about and break down in explicit detail in my book. Because if you applied that, I mean, you would have gotten laid a long time ago. But at the end of the day, dude, this girl's a fuck buddy and that's it. She's not relationship material, period. Don't delude yourself into thinking that, because you've seen for 6 months now how she was willing to cheat on her boyfriend with you and God knows who else. Definitely make sure you practice safe sex with a woman like this, but that's just the way she is. So, if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone, Skype, or email coaching session. You can choose any of those options by going to my website, clicking the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions for booking whichever option works best for you. And I will talk to you soon.